Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are back with more news and politics from around the world. So, today, let's start out with something from the lever. Uh, Rutgers University puts Wall Street before teachers. Educators are striking at New Jersey State University, which has pumped $246 million from its endowment into high fee hedge fund investments since 2020. You're not there to make money. You're a public university. Of course, I think all universities should be made public, easily accessible the way elementary, middle school, high school, the same way they are. It should not be a pay to play game. Too much suffering has happened because it's all become about the rich being able to gain a further upper hand. Rutgers University is refusing to pay some instructors living wages or give its faculty raises that would keep up with inflation, prompting the first ever strike in the school's history. At the same time, New Jersey State University has continued to plow ever more funds from its endowment into high fee investments that are performing poorly. The Rutgers strike, which began Monday, is over basic issues like wages, job security, and the cost of university owned housing. Currently, 9,000 educators are taking part in the action. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, who appoints members of Rutgers' Board of Governors, is currently acting as mediator between the unions and the university management. The episode underscores the critical role that the university endowments are playing in subsidizing the lifestyles of some of the wealthiest people on the planet at the cost of livable wages for people who teach students. Anyway, and the other story from the lever I wanted to look at today. Well, regulators stiffed low-income communities in the Silicon Valley Bank bailout. The government rescued Silicon Valley Bank's wealthy depositors, but neighborhoods counting on the collapsed bank are out of luck. So, another case of the rich get the bailout while the poor is told, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. When federal banking regulators bailed out Silicon Valley Bank's wealthy depositors and gave its new owners a $17 billion discount, it turned out they offered no such rescue to another group impacted by the bank's historic collapse, low-income communities to whom it had promised billions of lending. Banking regulators told the lever this week that though these pledges ended with the failure of the bank, evaporating an expected source of affordable mortgage and small business loans in California. The move could leave thousands of planned Bay Area affordable housing units in jeopardy at a time when a quarter of the area residents are struggling to afford basic necessities and halted a $10 million program to increase homeownership in communities of color. So again, yeah, rich, oh, they need the help. Meanwhile, people who actually struggle and need help, yeah, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This from ProPublica. New York prosecutors ignored tainted evidence used against Spanish speaking drivers for years. Mistranslated DWI warnings used in Westchester County may have pressured some drivers into taking a breathalyzer test. The district attorney's office didn't investigate for 3 years. Senior prosecutors in one of New York's largest counties have known for years that drunk driving convictions of Spanish speaking motorists may have been tainted by faulty evidence, but the Westchester District Attorney's Office failed to investigate until defense attorneys contacted the unit that reviews wrongful convictions. From at least 2014 to 2018, records show New York State police troopers gave some drivers mistranslated instructions about what it means to refuse a blood alcohol test. Legal experts, including 3 former prosecutors in Westchester, told ProPublica that those incorrect directions could, at a minimum, confuse or mislead drivers and may have pressured some into a decision that resulted in severe consequences. Westchester prosecutors were alerted to the issue at least 3 times in 2018, 2019, and 2021, records show. And the whole thing is, we know that breathalyzers can be overly sensitive to what may be in the system, even if it's legal. But yeah, it's forcing people into doing things out of fear for themselves, and that they may be put in worse trouble, instead of letting them know the facts. But yeah. Anyway, next story. I debated putting this one on here, but from LGBTQ Nation, Lauren Boebert, livid that her home state passed pro-trans legislation, calling it a complete disgrace. Boebert raged at how Colorado became a sanctuary state for trans youth. Out Colorado Governor Jared Polis just signed 3 bills supporting healthcare rights in the state, including one that makes the state a safe haven for those seeking abortions in gender-affirming healthcare, and one elected official from the state, Boebert, is not enjoying hearing about it. It's a complete disgrace, she tweeted about the bills. So what? This is about helping people. Those that are often put in danger because of hateful people like you, woman. On Friday, Polis signed a bill that ensures that people, even people who live in other states, can get legal health care like abortions and gender-affirming care in Colorado without getting prosecuted in their home states, shielding healthcare providers and patients from interstate investigations, which seems to be all the rage right now from Republicans. We'll even prevent you from going to other states to get your stuff done because we hate you that much. Anyway, this from Salon. Clarence Thomas caught reporting up to $750,000 in income from a company that doesn't exist. Any presumption in favor of Thomas's integrity and commitment to comply It could be an honest mistake because, from what I understand, the company had just changed ownership. Yeah, the company he looked at, um, Ginger Limited Partnership, but it shutters in 2006 and rode into a new separate firm called Ginger Holdings LLC. That could be an honest mistake. There's a lot that we have to look at Thomas about and say, you need to be investigated. This, mm, may be a matter of misunderstanding things. Still, you can't ignore it either. Anyway, all right, we'll close that. This is from the Barents Observer. Pensioner tried to set fire to military recruitment office in northern Russian town of Usinsk. A woman threw one of her weapons toward the front door of the building, but the bottle of flammable contents failed to catch fire. The second bottle was thrown on the ground as police officers detained her. The Russian version of the Barents Observer reported in reference to local sources. The woman is reportedly employed in a cleaning agency. She now faces terrorism charges and ultimately several years behind bars. It is not known whether she herself has relatives drafted into the war. So yeah, it's wrong to do what she did. You shouldn't be committing any kind of violence. However, it points out how disliked the war in Ukraine is by the average Russian. I'm sure there are some Russians who back Russia's stance that are average Russians, but it seems like the more and more we hear, average Russians don't, they don't care for it. Again, there may be some that do. They may love it, but there's a lot that's like, yeah, this, no. And I thought this was okay, good. I feel the First Nations in North America have often been so mistreated. Well, around the world, Aborigines in Australia, your First Nations peoples in Canada, US, Mexico, throughout Latin America and South America. You know, and I guess there's others as well, like the Ainu people. I don't know how badly they may have been mistreated, but or if they've been really mistreated at all in Japan. But yeah. Anyway, I'm glad there is some attempt to make things better. Canada to pay $800 million to settle land dispute with 5 First Nations. Government represents, or payment represents acknowledgement government in British Columbia have failed to honor treaty signed in 1899. Canada has agreed to pay 800 million in Canadian or 600 million in US to settle a land claim dispute with 5 First Nations in acknowledgement. And the latest in a string of deals reshaping the relationship between government and Indigenous communities. Uh, Both federal and British Columbia governments admitted successive administrations had broken their promises to the Blueberry River First Nations, the Doig River First Nation, the Halfway River First Nation, the Salto First Nations, and the West Moberly First Nations. Okay. I'm glad they're getting some kind of recompense for it. Some kind of payment for all that's went down. Anyway, and this, I just, yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's from the Telegraph. But yeah, recent UFO sightings could be probes from an alien mothership, says Pentagon official. Authors of academic paper claim that aliens could be visiting Earth from a nearby parent craft, such as Oumuamua, which was this big uh, asteroid that did a swing around the planet and headed back out. And there was speculation that yes, it may have been some way to observe. So, I mean, this isn't wholly new, but it's interesting. But yeah, I think I'll go ahead and end this episode there. I appreciate y'all for watching. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting sources in the description box below. See you all in the next one. Until then, later.